We couldn't help but notice that you were just a little bit frightened, so we thought we'd drop in and help.
Yeah,
Sorry, but I don't lose.
Wrong.
Noctis.
Sorry.
oh, sorry.
Noctis Lucis Kylum. He's the Prince of Lucis and serves as the main character of Final Fantasy 15. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with y'all. I knew absolutely nothing about Noctis or Final Fantasy 15 as a whole when I had asked for it for Christmas last year. Actually, pretty much all I knew was he was Final Fantasy. At least 2 Kingdom Hearts characters looked like him. And he was a very powerful character in a mobile game I had played years ago that is no longer available on the App Store, unfortunately. And back then I was like, ooh, this guy Noctis, he looks sick. He looks sick. I'll play his game one day. And then I finally did. I asked for it for Christmas. I got it and I played it. And it was really fun. I enjoyed it. Why did that feel weird to say? But yes, I really, really enjoyed the game and loved it thoroughly. And for those who are wondering how it felt by the end of the game, let's roll that one clip of me real quick. Accurate depiction of how I felt. I was crying. Anyways, one of the few things I did know about Noctis was that at least a couple people wanted him in Smash Bros. Again, this is like really old knowledge and just from what I remember, but I clearly remember seeing the name Noctis under Who Do You Want in Smash Bros. And I knew face to name, it's like Noctis, oh, that's that one guy. So, yeah, and then when I played Final Fantasy 15, I'm like, holy crap, no wonder people would want him in the game. He's got so much versatility and just so much coolness, and he's just cool, and oh my gosh, yeah, of course you'd want him in the game. Why wouldn't you? So anyway, yeah, that's why we're here now. I'm going to go in depth on how Noctis could be in Smash Bros, but I haven't said the line yet, so we're not counting it yet. Okay, so with all that said, let's ask the question, what if Noctis joined Smash Bros? I'm gonna be real quick. This kit was extremely hard to design, but it was also extremely fun to make, so I'm hoping that what I bring to the table is pretty freaking interesting to y'all. So when I was designing Noctis's kit, I used other games that he's in, such as Final Fantasy Dissidia, hope I said that right, NT, and Tekken 7. And obviously Final Fantasy 15, like, yeah, that one's kind of plain as day. In Final Fantasy 15, Noctis can actually use a multitude of weapons to fight. And pretty much every collab that Noctis is in brings this over, so I really doubt Smash would be any different. So, what weapons will he use? For starters, he'll use his signature weapon, the Engine Blade, as his main weapon for this kit. He can also utilize a Great Sword, specifically the War Sword, a polearm, specifically the Drain Lance, daggers, specifically the Avengers, and a shield, specifically the Kite Shield. And for those who are wondering, yes, Noctis will use magic and the Royal Arms in the kit, but we'll get to those later. You gotta save that for later, you know? It's a surprise tool that will help us later. With that out of the way, Noctis will be a midweight fighter, but on the lighter side of the spectrum, around where Cloud and Mii Sword Fighter are. He can be solid in all aspects, speed, damage, and all the other attributes, etc, etc, etc. He can have 2 jumps and can also wall jump. Noct's stage entrance can have him warp strike onto the stage. Nothing special here, just a simple little teleport to the stage. For his up taunt, Noct will pose as if he's summoning his Engine Blade and say, "The hunt is on." His side taunt can have him hold out a fish like he just caught it. This references his love for fishing that we see throughout the game. And for his down taunt, Noct can summon his Great Sword, Polearm, and daggers in that order and quote himself from Final Fantasy Dissidia NT saying, in order, "Hope you're ready to lose. I never pull my punches. And I don't need any Royal Guard." As for his ults, Noct's default will be his Princess Fatigues, which is his main outfit in Final Fantasy 15. And the outfit that he's seen in literally every single thing. So, yeah. His second ult can be a blue recolor. This references the army gear that Noctis uses, as when it's summoned and collected and all that stuff, it's like a weird sky silvery blue, so it's a loose reference, but It's a fun one. His third can be a crimson red based recolor, which is inspired by Cid's design in Final Fantasy XV. His fourth can be a green and gray based ult, which comes from Arden, the main antagonist of Final Fantasy XV. His fifth can be a mainly white based ult with other blues here and there. This references Luna Freya, Noctis' love interest, and Ignis, specifically in his casual attire, who is a party member and a best friend of Noctis. His sixth can be a yellow and pink ult, which is based on his Chocomog tea set from the Holiday Pack DLC. His seventh can be a special one. It can be based on Yozora, a character from Kingdom Hearts who looks shockingly like Noctis. This will overhaul Noctis drastically both in his model with the different colors, but his weapons will gain that weird red and black aesthetic that Yozora's weapons have. And his eighth can be an alt costume, that being his kingly raiments. Noctis can also have a facial model change, which would be his older appearance seen at the end of the game. His eighth ult can also change his down taunt. Instead of summoning the other stuff, he'll summon the Sword of the Father and say, "Off my chair, Jester." And for his victories, Nox first can have him rub his hands together and say, "Nothing to it." This comes from a victory pose within Final Fantasy XV. His second can have him hop into his regalia and drive off, similarly to one of Joker's victories. And his final one can have him walk up and sit in a throne, which references Versus 13, which is where Noctis was supposed to come from, what I can tell. I don't really know the whole story with that. During this, he can say something along the lines of, "I am Noctis, King of Lucis." Doesn't have to exactly be that, but you get the idea. With all that said, let's move on to the Chosen King's moveset. Noctis' jab can be a 2-hit jab, starting with him swinging his engine blade downwards and then again horizontally. This attack comes out fairly fast and can be spammed for decent damage. For his forward tilt, he'll do a slash from high left to low right. While this is mostly just a standard forward tilt, the range allows him to potentially hit opponents from behind. Keyword is potentially though. They'll have to either be in range for the attack to hit, or you will have to get really close and personal to pull this off successfully. His up tilt will be a simple overhead slash. It's nothing special, but can be used to hit airborne opponents. His down tilt will also be a standard swordsman down tilt, but like his forward tilt, it can hit opponents from behind and with the similar parameters and all that stuff. For his dash attack, Noct will rush forward with the Avengers. This attack doesn't have too much power to it, but it can move Noctis a decent distance and comes out incredibly fast. His side smash will once again use the Avengers. He will slam one dagger down, and then the other one will slam down about halfway through the first slam. This attack does a fair amount of damage and knockback, and comes out much faster than most side smashes. His up smash has him use his war sword and perform a rising slash. This attack is extremely powerful and has insane range, but comes out very slow. And for his down smash, Noctis will pull out the Drain Lance and stab the ground. Basically, it's Sephiroth's down smash, but with a spear instead of a sword. Moving along to his aerials, Nox Neutral Air has him swing his sword from directly behind him forward horizontally. This attack is fast and would be great for aerial combos. His forward air has him stab his polearm forward and then quickly strike slightly upward. The stab does great damage but has a smaller hitbox, yes I'm mentioning those now, while the rising strike does poor damage but is easier to land. His back air has him swing his greatsword backwards. This attack, despite coming out slow, is pretty powerful and can send Noct downwards. His up air is just a standard swordsman up air, nothing special. And his down air can be the same, just downwards. This move can be used to juggle opponents in the air. Noctis will grab by desummoning his sword and grabbing an opponent, and Pummel by bashing the opponent with his kite shield. His forward throw will once again use the shield, having Noct smash the shield into the opponent to launch them. His back throw will have him bash the opponent with his shield to launch them backwards. His up throw will have him use a simple fire spell to launch opponents upwards. That's gonna hurt a little bit if you know what I'm saying, fire. And his down throw has him slam his greatsword down on opponents. This will, unsurprisingly, bury them. Now here's the interesting little thing. Nox throws won't be able to kill, none of them, but all of them can launch opponents farther than most throws can. And now we come to Noctis' special attacks. For those who are wondering where the Royal Arms and other stuff are, well, it's here now, yay! For his neutral special,
He wields a gun.
nah, I'm just kidding. For his neutral special, Noctis will call upon the power of his father and use the Sword of the Father. This attack functions similarly to Roy and Crom's Flare Blade neutral special, having Noctis summon and charge the Sword of the Father before slamming it down onto the ground to make a powerful explosion. Now, Noct's Sword of the Father doesn't have the one-hit KO power from the original version, but still is very powerful and won't damage Noctis upon fully charging it up. This move, despite coming from Roy and Crom, is seen in both Final Fantasy XV and Tekken 7, with it being the combo finisher in 15, I think, and being a separate move entirely in Tekken 7. For Noct's side special, he'll once again call upon magic and use Blizzaga. Not to be confused with Sora's Blizzaga, but it is somewhat similar, you'll see what I mean. Noctis' Blizzaga has him launch a magic flask that, after making contact with anything, will explode and an icy wind will erupt from it. And when I say anything, I mean anything. Stage, items, platforms, fighters, anything. Once that thing hits something, it's going to explode. The icy wind can cause rapid damage to opponents and can freeze opponents that are at high percentages. There's not much more to this move, but it would be useful in various situations. As for his up special, it will unsurprisingly be his ability Warp Strike. For this move, Noctis will throw his engine blade and then almost immediately teleport to it. Now, the thrown blade is an attack, but it does minimal damage. However, this whole move has one key advantage to it. It can be used twice in the air before Noctis needs to touch the ground. Yes, you heard me right. After using this once in the air, it doesn't put Noctis in the freefall. He has to use it again before he can't use it in the air anymore. This attack has some startup, but comes out very fast and, like I said, can be used twice before needing to touch the stage again, which, last I checked, is pretty freaking busted. And for his down special, Noctis will call upon the Royal Arms once again and use the Shield of the Just. Noct will pull out the shield, and if hit by an attack, he will parry the attack. Not counterattack, parry it. Now, depending on the type of attack, different things happen. If hit with a melee attack, Noct will stop the opponent's attack entirely and cause them to flinch. If hit by a projectile, however, he will parry it back in the direction it came from with boosted speed, but no boosted damage. And that's it for his special attacks. Overall, Noctis' kit is pretty simple, yet effective. But this isn't all the Prince of Lucis has to show. Normally, I'd be moving on to the final smash, but I've got one more thing I need to explain. So, when I was playing Final Fantasy XV, I got to a certain point in the game and realized something. If I were to make this smash kit, I'd have to give Noctis a gimmick.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
Noctis has a bar that fills up in the game, and once it fills up, he will summon the Armagear, which are the royal arms that Noct collects through the game. Unsurprisingly, this Armagear will be Noctis' gimmick. Noctis will have a meter above his UI that fills up as he deals damage, and once the bar is filled up, he will activate the Armagear. Now yes, the only way to fill up this bar is to deal damage. That's not hard though, as outside of the down special parrying melee attacks, all of Noctis' moves do damage. Noctis has a limited time in the Armagear mode, but he will get an insane amount of boosts. His speed, range, and damage are increased in this mode, and his dash will have him teleport instead of running. His attacks that use weapons will have him use royal arms instead of what he's using before. So instead of the engine blade, he'll just permanently use the Sword of the Father. Instead of the Drain Lance, he'll use the Trident of the Oracle. Instead of the Avengers, he'll use the Blades of the Wanderer. And instead of the War Sword, he'll use the Sword of the Tall. There's some moves that change in this mode. His down throw will now be a kill throw. His neutral special will now be able to one-hit KO opponents at the cost of doing damage back to Noctis. His side special will now be Tricast Blizzaga, having 3 blizzards happen once the magic flask explodes instead of just 1. And his up special will have more star lag, but will go much farther and deal more damage if an opponent is hit with it. Oh, and Alt 4 and 7 can actually change the Armagear color. Alt 4 will have it go to a pinkish red color to reference Arden's Armagear, and Alt 7 will make it a more crimson red color as a reference to Yazora's whole aesthetic he's got going on. And another thing, if you win with the armor gear out, they'll desummon at the beginning of Noctis's victories. Overall, the armor gear makes Noctis a threat on the battlefield. He's basically Joker with arson but more weapons and better range, which is saying something because Joker with arson has great range already. And with all that said, now we can move on to Noctis's final smash. Noctis's final smash will have him once again call upon the armor gear, being called the Royal Arms. This will be a non-cinematic final smash that starts with Noctis summoning the Royal Arms and dashing forward. Any opponents caught in the dash will be pulled to the top of the stage. Then, Noctis will unleash a flurry of attacks using the Royal Arms, before ending the attack by slamming the opponents down using all of the Royal Arms. This is a powerful attack that does insane damage and can kill at high percentages. Overall, this attack shows the might of the chosen king of Lucis. And that does it for What If Noctis joined Smash Bros. Man, this was really fun, kid. And that's really fun to say. As you say the whole name, Noctis, Lucis, Kylum. It's something about that rolls off really, really well. But anyways, so yeah, that's the kit. Like I said, it was hard, but it was a fun challenge. And honestly, if you ask me, if you said, Gabriel, if you had to main 3 of your current Smash kits you've made, what 3 are you choosing? Noctis is the first one I'm gonna say. Well, maybe not the first one. I would say Noctis, and then version 2, Roxas, and Larry Boy. Which I think those 3 say a lot about me. And knowing who at least 2 of the kits are gonna be this year, and how much I would like to play them in Smash 2. If you subscribe to the series for genuine Smash requests, you're getting them and you're getting memes too. I hope you're enjoying this. But anyways, so yeah, that's the Noctis kit. Was it hard? Yeah. Was it fun? Yeah. Now for Final Fantasy VII
Wrong game, Gabriel. Wrong game.
Now for Final Fantasy 15 as a whole, I genuinely enjoyed it. Not to go into critical reviews here, because I'm not going to do that. I had a few issues with it. It wasn't perfect. There was some I was like, that definitely seems like a weird decision. But I really enjoyed it, and that plot twist in the second to last chapter, right at the end, I was like, huh? So it's that one cat, the cat. That's how I felt by the end of the game, before the Spider-Man crying. But I seriously loved it. I mean, if your game ends and begins with Florence and the Machine, I think you win. I've been listening to that song. I know it's a cover, but I've been listening to it non-stop since January. It is March. I love it. I seriously love the game. I made that immediately afterwards. It was about the quickest turnaround as when I made that and that. So, yeah, I really, really love Final Fantasy 15. And highly would recommend it if you want to get into Final Fantasy as a whole. It's a pretty good starting game from my understanding. Maybe not the best. You might want to start with, maybe even 7, but this game, amazing. But with that said, that's it for the kit. I have the script here of future kits, but when I did that with Ganondorf, I almost didn't make this kit, so I'm not going to do that this time. Let me just say, next time, it's gonna be an all-star. That was a hint, damn it. Well, anyways, thank y'all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. And I'm gonna go ahead and just pop off the screen now. I'm gonna go do something, I don't know. Probably record the rest of the kit. This is the second bit I'm recording. But anyways, thank y'all for watching, and until next time, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.